My name's Richard. Last name Rand. First name is Richard. Last name is Rand.
All right. How long have you been working in EMS?
First stint was 5 years. Just had my 2-year anniversary.
All in the same county, or?
No, I worked in LA County, Orange County first, and now San Bernardino County.
What is the current position that you have?
I'm a dispatcher for IFT, Interfacility Transports, and Victorville 911.
Have you or anyone you know in the EMS community ever been diagnosed with PTSD?
I wouldn't say diagnosed, but yes, I do suffer from aspects of PTSD myself.
And what can you do?
Anxiety. Had to call our service people in that to actually go over calls. I wouldn't say go over in depths in calls, but actually go over situations that I've had to re-deal with.
The old understanding of suck it up and deal with it. Is that something that you dealt with as opposed back then as opposed to now? How is it dealt with now?
Dealing with it now that is actually more of, hey, get out there and get it taken care of, so you're not keeping it bottled up, where back in the day it was you pretty much just sucked it up and dealt with it, and hopefully you didn't crack when you're on scene at another call.
Are there any programs in place that assist the employees?
Yeah, there's it's an employment, forget the actual name of it, but yeah, we do have a service that we can call on that, and they actually ask us questions and get us in touch with counselors if we need it. My last stint, I was actually on with 4 counselors there at the same time who were going over with what I was dealing with, because they're all helping out with different aspects of it.
Okay. Have you personally known anybody that has succumbed to the effects of PTSD?
Yes.
And what happened? What did they end up doing? Did they ask for help, or did
they ended up asking for help in that, and I believe that she is no longer working in the EMS industry because of it.
How do you cope with it yourself?
I talk about it. That's the only way to cope with it, is by talking about it. Keeping it bottled up, and that you just bring it home and take it out on your loved ones, and it's not their fault that we chose this line of work.
And do you talk about it with just coworkers, or?
No, actually, I do not talk about it with coworkers. Strictly family. My coworkers do not need to know what I'm going through.
Do you feel that it's easy for you or for your colleagues to reach out for help?
The program's there, and that it's very easy for us to reach out. I mean, it's an 800 number, we call it. It's completely anonymous to the company when we call on that, so it's pretty much between us and the people that we're speaking with on the other line.
So when you're dispatching and the call first drops,
Mm-hmm.
Depending, say it's a car accident,
Mm-hmm.
is there anything that triggers you that can have you kind of react to the effects of something that may have happened in your past?
Suicide calls are what make me react. And those I pretty much have to kind of just take a deep breath when I'm done, and hope for the best that the person makes it through what they've gone through.
How have the scenes that you've been on from back then and what you deal with now, how have those made you who you are?
I've been on some pretty gnarly scenes in that, and my first ever call was an auto versus pedestrian to get actually inundated into the EMS system well over 20 years ago. It's a scene I'll never ever forget. I can close my eyes and still describe it, the whole entire scene from start to finish of what we dealt with, from the scene to transportation to the hospital to the effects afterwards. Being in where I'm at now in that, I'm kind of happy because I don't have to see those. I just hear about them. I don't have to physically see them. So I'm kind of fortunate that I don't have to have that movie reel type setup actually placed into my brain.
Do you think those scars have healed over time?
No, not at all. No, it's more of a coping mechanism. You learn to, it's not when bad things happen in life and that you kind of cope with it and you learn how to deal with it and how to work through the situation. Only nice thing is that if somebody else happens to go through what I've gone through, I can at least talk to them about it from a first-hand experience and kind of how I've overcome it, or at least accepted it.
How do you deal with that now? If you have a new person that's coming in that has gone on some sort of gnarly call, and they come up to you, they feel comfortable confiding in you. How do you coach them through it?
I haven't had anybody do that yet, but I've talked to other employees, field employees, and that about calls and that, and they're like, "Wow, we've never, a lot of them have never had to deal with what I've dealt with and that." So I'm kind of fortunate for them that they haven't had to go through that like I did. I was inundated. My first call and that was a tough one. Guy getting hit by a car at 3 o'clock in the morning is a tough thing to go on.
Is that the toughest call you've ever had?
No, actually, a guy getting cut in half by his motorcycle and him still being alive for 6 minutes of us being on scene. That was the tough one. Because we actually called his wife while he was dying.
How did you deal with? Did that one cause any sort of
6 months of not being at work.
because of the effects of
Because of the
PTSD?
effects of it, yeah. Having to tell somebody's wife and that their loved one's about ready to die, and for her to shut the F up so he can talk to her before he goes. Yeah, it kind of just sinks into you in that, and every once in a while when you drive by an accident now, and that's more of a, I hope that person got to speak with their loved one before they went, which doesn't always happen, but you can always hope.
So those reminders are there every time you try, like say, driving down the road. You see those landmarks that you remember.
Every time I'm on it, every time I'm on the freeway, yeah, it's always going to be there. It's not something that'll ever go away.
Does it get easier over time?
No.
It's always there. Just
It's always there.
kind of
It's
creeping.
just it's kind of like it's like somebody's like hitting rewind every time you hit that spot. And it's whether it's like trying to stop that rewind from going, so you try to get through it as fast as possible. So being stuck in traffic in that area on the freeway really sucks.
Is there anything else that you would like to say regarding PTSD and how to cope with it?
Get help. Don't be afraid. Don't listen to your coworkers that are telling you, "Hey, you can get through it on your own." Reach out and ask for help. Because whether you think you're strong or not, there's no harm in asking for help. And sometimes that little bit of help will help you get through a lot of more stuff than just what you're dealing with.
Anything else?
That's it.